In September, I went on one of the most exciting trips of my life. I've often claimed that radio is better than watching television. It paints better pictures. And sightseeing in Myanmar proves to be an eye-opening experience.
It's very busy here today. There's lots of different smells of the spices and the cheroot smoke and lots of people. It's an entirely multi-sensory experience. And, you're filling in the visual bit for me.
Oh, there's a couple of monks passing us now in their wine-red robes, wearing flip-flops. I think we might have to just walk onto the road here. So down here, we're passing people who've got baskets on their heads.
Just move to your left a little bit because the bikes are coming quite close behind me.
Have you got danger money? Jesuba, Jesuba.
You can smell that fish paste thing somewhere as well.
It's disgusting. Throughout years of British colonisation, Japanese occupation and military domination, not to mention the annual monsoon season, the people of Myanmar have shown extraordinary resilience. On this holiday with a difference, my fellow travellers will also demonstrate that adversity need not cow the human spirit.
Hi Edie, welcome to Heathrow, nice to see you.
In fact, Amar Latif cannot see me. At 4 years old, he was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. Growing up in Glasgow, he showed business skills from a young age, cycling to the cash and carry and then selling on the purchases to his pals for a profit. But his tunnel vision progressively narrowed until at the age of 18 he'd lost 95% of his sight and reluctantly had to ditch the bike and use a white cane. However, his spirit for independent adventure was not to be dimmed. Outraged that travel companies expected him to be accompanied by a carer, he founded Traveleyes in 2004. With a business background in marketing, he came up with a great strapline: the blind man who wants to show you the world.
When I lost my sight, I had two problems. The first was obviously that I was blind, but the second was that I hadn't still seen the world, and I knew that there was a beautiful world out there, and I was just dying to explore it. I just thought that surely should be everyone's right to be able to do that, whether you're blind or you're not.
Fascinated by this concept, here I am at Heathrow with a group of visually impaired and sighted travellers who will be exploring the sights, sounds, textures and flavours of Myanmar.
Good morning. Good morning, Traveleyes. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah. The premise is that each VI, as they're known, pays full price, and every day is paired up with a different sighted partner who gets a discounted travel rate in return for guiding and describing the surroundings when required. But first, the guides who've never done this before, we're called the newbies, need a little training. Amar is accompanied by assistant tour manager Hannah, who helps demonstrate.
So Hannah meets me for the first time.
Hey, hi Amar, it's Hannah.
Hi Hannah.
How would you like to be guided?
I'll take the back of your arm.
Okay.
Okay, so what I've got is back of Hannah's left elbow, and this naturally puts me a few steps behind Hannah, because if Hannah's going up or down slopes, it gives me a little bit of a warning.
And if not, we all have insurance.
That's right, they're fully insured. Thanks, James.
James, who has congenital glaucoma, is the joker in the group, and at 26, the youngest. Like all the other VIs, he's become a regular traveller with this company, partly because it's not a charity.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I consider myself a young, independent professional. I don't need a charity, really. It's nice to be able to come and, just like anybody else would, to look at travel companies on offer, see what the holidays are offering and the services that they provide, and be able to make a choice. Everybody else on the holidays is in exactly the same position. There's nobody, for want of a better expression, doing it out of the goodness of their heart, because they're still paying for it. I mean, everybody's here for the same reasons.
Where have you been?
I've been to Paris, Italy 3 times, Marrakesh, Krakow, and Zimbabwe, Zambia and Botswana.
How do you afford it?
I actually was very fortunate, and I left university without any real debts. So I know there's probably quite a lot of people listening who'll probably hate me for that. And then I'd say working full-time since I left university as well, so...
What do you think you give other travellers, sighted travellers?
Hopefully I make them laugh. What's been said to me by sighted guides is that they actually take more notice of what they're looking at because they have to actually think about it and describe it out loud. I think it's quite common now that we spend a lot of time, and particularly on holidays, sort of viewing things through the camera lens.
I'd never met a blind person before, but they're just amazing people. I just can't believe how well they manage.
Moira Wilson from Turriff in Aberdeenshire is on her 12th trip with the company and has formed lifelong friendships. You do bond very quickly on these trips, don't you?
You certainly do. I arrive at the airport, I see all these people, smiling faces, obviously looking forward to their holiday. And by the time we're aboard the plane, I feel I've known everybody forever. It's just such a wonderful feeling. Everybody in a way is in the same boat. We're all going together. We're all hoping to enjoy the same things. Some people have said to me, why would a blind person go on holiday? They can't see.
I am visually impaired, have been since birth, and I really couldn't give two hoots about it, to be honest. And I like life.
Moira is partnered with a young woman who asked me not to use her name. Have you been on one of these holidays before?
Oh, loads. I'm a piece of the furniture.
What sort of places have you been?
I tend to do the far-flung ones. Europe is something I would do with friends and family. So I've done Japan, China, all over. And I have an account, which the bank roared with laughter. I call it my holiday fund. But I don't drink, I don't smoke. And so I think I save a bit of money there.
So let's get this crass question out of the way then. Why do blind people want to go on holiday?
Oh, the urge to slap you is very hard. No, I shall resist. Because I think, as with all people, blind people probably go on holiday for a variety of reasons. I like to see things in the metaphorical sense of the word. I like to learn new things about people. And for me, going on holiday is an opportunity to open my mind to other cultures, learn about other cultures, and appreciate people for who they are.
The culture and people of Myanmar are still relatively unfamiliar. Because of its political position, the country was off the map to tourism until the military junta transferred power to the civilian government. Now the aim is to attract 7.5 million tourists by 2020. For the next 12 days, 6 visually impaired people will be paired up with one of 12 sighted travellers to explore its Buddhist temples, monasteries and pagodas, bustling cities and stunning rural landscapes. And we'll learn about each other along the way. After an exhausting journey across half the world, we arrive in Yangon, once known as Rangoon. Our tour guide, 992, immaculately dressed in Burmese wraparound longji, jacket, wide-rimmed bamboo hard hat and flip-flops, leads us to the tour bus. And I learn my first Burmese word, Mingalaba.
Mingalaba is a typical greeting of Myanmar. It means have an auspicious day or have a blessing day. We don't say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, but we usually greet our respectable person, to our parents, to our teacher, and the monk, Mingalaba.
So I know how to say Mingalaba. How do I say please and thank you?
To say please, you have to say Jesu Puyue.
Jesu Puyue.
Yeah. And thank you, Jesu Tembade. But if you want to say short, Jesu Ba.
Jesu Ba.
Shorter.
We eat supper in a local restaurant, and next morning I meet up again with James and Graham, who's been his guide since they met at Heathrow the day before.
Good morning.
Good morning. Did you sleep well?
Very well, yeah. Needed that. The 2 beers at the restaurant helped. The Myanmar beer, very good.
You recommend it. What did you have to eat last night?
I did a bit of everything, actually. We had some curry, steamed rice, different salads, and then we had this
tapioca pudding.
Yeah, it was like
it
palm
was
sugar.
disgusting.
It was lovely. What's the matter with it?
Oh,
It was really
it was
good.
sickly.
It looked rather unfortunate, didn't it? But it tasted really good.
How do you know it looked unfortunate?
Well, the way it was described was it was quite sloppy and brown. So, I mean, there are times I'm glad that I can't see, I tell you what.
How have you got on well? Because the thing is, James, you're a bit of a veteran in these trips. And Graham, you've never done a trip before.
Indeed not.
Graham has done a fantastic job. Like I say, what you sometimes find is that people that have never guided before are sometimes the best because they don't have any bad habits. So you can train them as you want. It's ideal.
I sound like a dog, don't I?
My guide human.
Human guide. Yes, I'll accept that.
Guides are thrown in at the deep end when we visit downtown Yangon to explore its grand, if somewhat crumbling, colonial architecture. We walk together, avoiding traffic, ankle-breaking potholes in uneven pavements, while skirting round vendors selling street food. When Burma became independent in 1948, much of the country had been under British rule for nearly 100 years, and connections with its colonial past are all around us. The Anglican Cathedral, Victorian High Court offices, Telegraph Office, and at least one legacy of the Glaswegian merchants who dominated business in this corner of the empire. I'm standing at a very busy crossroads here, looking across to a rather neglected, faded yellow building, and beside that there's a white building with Corinthian pillars, and that used to be the Irrawaddy River Flotilla Company. The company was owned by a Scottish family, and the flotillas were built on the Clyde, deconstructed and then reconstructed when they came over here. So it's quite strange to be looking at that, knowing about that colonial Scottish connection.
Yeah, Myanmar is known as Scottish Burma in those days, not British Burma. It is said that more than 70% of the officers in the British government were Scottish.
Immaculately maintained golf courses form another legacy left by Scottish officers and merchants. Whisky is a favourite drink. Kachin rebels in the north play bagpipes, and colonial administrator James George Scott from Fife introduced football to Burma. Our next stop, Scott Market, is commonly believed to be named after him. In fact, it took its name from the commissioner of the time, Mr. Gavin Scott. After Burmese independence in 1948, it was renamed Bogchok Market. It's a sprawling, covered cobblestone bazaar, a fantastic example of colonial architecture, which houses more than 1,600 stalls and shops. And on the day I'm here, it's full of singing. I'm following 3 beautiful children, shaven-headed, wearing little pink robes and carrying metal begging bowls. And every single shopkeeper is giving them money. The children are girls as young as 5, Buddhist nuns who come here from their monastery twice a week. 9 explains what they're singing.
Oh, they are wishing, like they are spreading loving kindness to the people or to the well-wisher, to the donors. So may you be healthy, may you be wealthy, may you enjoy the world in this life. And finally, may you enter Nirvana.
Ah, so that's why the shopkeepers, the stall keepers are giving them money.
Yes, of course, because they want to enter Nirvana as soon as possible. And also they want to enjoy work in this life.
Stall holders are generous, but this is also a place of business.
How much is this one? How much? $60? How much sterling silver is in there? Yeah, I don't think it's silver. No. I'm pretty sure. No. What do you think I was? Born yesterday.
Bogchok Market is renowned for its valuable Myanmar jade. Only Jadeite jade and nephrite jade are considered authentic, and stallholders look bemused by unexpected expertise from a blind woman wearing a white hijab, accompanied by a sighted traveller, Linda. She determines the quality of what she holds.
Oh, is that Jadeite or is that nephrite?
I don't know. What sort of jade is it? Oh, it's
Jadeite.
Jadeite.
Oh, can I have a feel?
Remind us to step there. Can we feel one, please? Can we see one?
What is it?
There's the bangles. There's slightly ovally ones and there's round ones. She's just getting me one to try. This is quite a big chunky one.
What you do with jadeite jade is you actually tap it against something. It sounds like a bell, yeah?
Yeah.
When you tap it, and that usually means it is jadeite jade. All right, so thank you very much.
So can you explain that to me? How did you know that was genuine or not?
So jadeite jade is more better quality than nephrite jade. It's taken from the ground and it's usually mineral deposits. And the amount of mineral deposit determines the colour and the type of jade. So nephrite jade, the mineral deposit, I think it has more calcium. So when you tap it, it sounds very, very solid. But jadeite jade, as that one was, which is the more quality one, when you tap it, it gives like a bell-like sound. And that's how you know the difference. I could spend my day in here.
Choices bewildering.
You love it.
I love learning. And when I buy, I learn beforehand and then I buy.
OK, I shall leave you to more learning. This is a place you can literally get lost in, sighted or otherwise. Hi there. Hi, Graham.
Hi. Are you getting enough sound bites? All over the place.
Yeah, I definitely don't have to look far for singing, that's for sure. Yeah. Have you bought anything yet?
Yes, we have.
I was really looking for some elephants, but I love the colours of those. It's coral and turquoise.
They're beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful earrings.
They're pretty, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, Graham, you're with your wife at this point. You're not guiding today.
I'm not guiding today. It's a day off. I'm just guiding my good lady around.
So, Hazel, were you guiding yesterday?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you're not married, sorry.
It's all right.
That was a terrible assumption to make, wasn't it?
Not really, no.
He's not made an honest woman of me.
We've only been together 20 years, so I'm just testing the water.
Why spoil it?
Whose decision was it to come then?
Mine.
Are you the boss when it comes to holiday vacations?
Yes. Yes. Graham skis, so he's in charge of the winter holiday.
Hope you get some nice things.
That's kind,
See
thank
you
you.
later.
Yeah, will do.
See you, Hazel.
Yes.
At lunchtime, I meet two other members of our group. Jennifer, we met earlier, not on tape recorder, I don't think, but we have met already. And you're with Sheila today. Are you a sighted newbie?
No, I've been once before with Traveleyes, and I ski with visually impaired skiers. They are fearless, they are out for a good time, and they are enormous fun to ski with.
I'm not a skier, but I'm a visually impaired walker. Mountains and hills and stuff. And again, you rely totally on your guide to tell you where to put your feet.
Not only you're visually impaired, but I think you might be a little bit older than some of the people here.
I'm 79.
You're 79?
Well, I'm sorry, I'd like to put the clock back, but that's how it is.
You've not always been blind, though?
I lost my sight 21 years ago.
How did it happen?
I had a brain hemorrhage, so I lost my sight in 3 seconds.
How long was your rehabilitation?
I was 7 months in hospital, only able to move my head from side to side. It took me 2 years to get out of a wheelchair. It took many years, really. I went back to college and did some GCSEs and some A-levels, which was enormous fun, and that got my brain working again.
Do you feel at all resentful about not having your sight?
No. I feel enormously thankful that I'm still alive, I'm not left a vegetable, and apart from my sight, and my friends say my brain, I like to think I'm back to normal. And although it's 21 years ago, apart from the first 2 years, I can say I've had a wonderful life. So no, I'm not resentful at all. I was left a widow 9 years ago, and I now live on my own, which was a very sharp learning curve. I've got wonderful friends who take me here, there and everywhere. I'm very lucky.
What are you looking forward to most this afternoon?
I want to go to the temple. I'm really looking forward to the temple because I love places like that. But just really walking the streets and hearing the different languages and the sights and the sounds and the smells and just the culture, really. That's the sort of thing I like to do.
Myanmar's most revered religious site, the Shwedagon Pagoda, is one of the most famous in the world. As is Buddha's custom, we walk round clockwise, modestly dressed and barefoot. It's truly awesome with its dazzling gold-plated dome, topped by a stupa containing thousands of diamonds, sapphires, topaz and rubies. At the very top, the diamond bud is tipped with a 76-carat diamond. What's less alluring to the Western eye are the flashing LED lights crowning many Buddha images, all invisible when you can't see, of course. What's your first impression of this then, Jennifer?
Well, I think it must be very vast, and I've been told everywhere you look is gold. So it's probably very, very ornate, very over the top in a way, but I like the sound of the singing and I like the sound of the gong. I think that's really nice. It sort of echoes. It's really lovely.
I just don't think for a visually impaired person it does very much. If it was a bit quieter maybe, you'd get more of the sense of it. But I've been in places like this before and they've been quiet, they haven't had all the recorded chanting and stuff, and I think it takes away some of the atmosphere. I think maybe that comes with the quiet. It's quite loud, it's quite bustly.
More contemplative, perhaps.
Yeah, that's what I was, a contemplative.
The Shwedagon Pagoda in Yangon hasn't been universally awe-inspiring, but there's still time for wonder as we go on to explore the monasteries, temples and stupas of Mandalay, Bagan and Shan State, which is our next stop after a short flight over beautiful mountainous landscape. Its mild climate made it popular with the British, and Shan women, renowned in Myanmar for their beauty and hard work, were particularly popular with Scottish officers. It was at the Golden Peace Monastery, which we visit briefly, that British and Shan peace talks were first held in 1892. Nothing can quite prepare you for experiencing this country for real, but everyone here has done a bit of homework beforehand. Esmond is a software engineer with IBM in Dublin. I asked how much research he had done before coming here.
Quite a bit, actually. I usually kind of do some research into, what weather to expect, but also what food to expect, what the national dishes would be, and then also the culture itself, I basically just type into a search engine the information I want and my computer then will speak to me.
The internet has just been a gift to people who are visually impaired.
It has. It actually has opened up so much, even something simple like reading the newspaper.
Our photograph is being taken by people. I think they maybe think it's a little bit strange that there's somebody with a microphone sitting here with somebody who's got a white cane. Can I ask you that point though? When did you start using a white cane? Was that a big psychological decision?
Yeah, I started when I was at school. The first time I'd have really used it properly and travelled independently when I was about 16, 17. Then once I went to college, once I went to university, it was a case that you had to be able to manage on my own. I had to be able to kind of travel from place to place on my own.
Can you tell me about your eye condition, about why you can't see?
I had a thing called retinoblastoma. I lost my first eye when I was 6 months old, and then I lost the second one when I was 4.5. So, most of my life I have actually been blind.
Can you remember ever seeing?
Yes, I can, but it's more events that I remember. I remember watching television when I was a kid and having to be right up in front of the screen, to be able to see it, because that was just before I went, my loss of my second eye, But I think for a lot of people, they don't remember a huge amount before they were 5 years old. Your kind of memory starts to develop around 3 to 5, I think.
Are you grateful for those memories? Do they help?
Yes, I think they do help in terms of giving me the opportunity to be able to kind of see things in the spatial kind of thing. If someone describes a building to you, I'm able to picture it in my mind.
I knew colour. I had colour as a child. If one was describing things like rooftops, that sort of stuff, I've got to imagine what a rooftop looks like, thinking of Lego bricks and how, I've never really scrambled over a roof, to imagine what it's like. So when someone says, the rooftops are all blue, I'm thinking Lego men, Lego roofs, okay, I presume that's blue, something along those lines, and shrug vaguely. But for somebody who has been sighted, it's something they can picture.
Can you see on the right-hand side there is a ball of the pulp?
Our next visit will be much more hands-on. The Shan Paper and Parasol Workshop. The artisans of this family-run business demonstrate how they use mulberry tree bark to produce the famous Shan paper.
It was poured into this sieve.
Graham is explaining the paper making process to his partner for the day.
Then they put the leaves in, and then they put the bougainvillea flower to give it some colour. And now it's been drained of all the water so that it's now going to dry, which will take about 3 hours.
It's fascinating.
Are you getting a really good impression of this?
Yeah, indeed.
You'll be able to touch it in a minute.
Graham, you're a natural teacher.
Yes.
That's fun.
It's good, isn't it?
He's very good.
I was a printer. Yeah.
It almost doesn't feel like paper. It's very, very durable.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can sense already that you're a lot happier today. You feel more at home here.
Oh, it's great stuff. This, for me, is what makes lasting memories. Walking around a temple or something, there's no actual interaction as such. But for something like this, you really, really get entrenched in the feel of it, in the smell, the aromas. Because they say smell provokes memories. And for me, I'll always associate the smell of pulp and dust and things like that with standing here watching this.
He's doing this job since he was 13, 14 years old.
Next, we watched one of the artisans miraculously turn bamboo into a parasol frame.
The part that you felt earlier has obviously got to have a thread through the middle. Now he's going to split it. Those are the struts for the umbrella, and that's the bit he turned on the lathe.
That's brilliant.
The slits around the top are the places for the arms to slot into.
It must take ages to make.
No, he didn't actually.
Didn't take long.
No.
10 minutes.
Really? That's impressive.
It's very good.
Are you going to buy a parasol to take home?
Me? No, I don't think so. It's just getting the damn thing back, isn't it? And I'm a bit
Best
stingy
value for
as
money.
well, so...
Take me with you, I'll haggle for you.
Are you about to haggle for this parasol?
I haven't got the heart, to be honest. I've seen all the work that goes into it.
I think it does bring it to life a little bit, doesn't it, when you actually go to the craft works themselves.
Feeling and touching it and seeing the actual paper made as well.
Nice.
And the process, how much work goes into it.
Put your finger on that. That's a spring to open the umbrella.
It is amazing to see a sighted person who's never even met a blind person before, or if they have, never really interacted with them, and never having described anything, to actually be part of that journey, like opening up new experiences like you've just witnessed with Graham. It's a great feeling.
Do you want me to guide you up here? So you got my elbow?
I've got your
Shoulder, right, okay. Amar Latif, who founded Traveleyes, still gets a buzz from connecting blind and sighted travellers. Right, well, we're just going into the corrugated roofed shed, which is full of parasols.
Are you going to buy one, Edie?
I might do.
When I go to all these countries, I always buy tactile things. So, the obvious things like, Paris Eiffel Tower, Egypt's pyramid, Thailand and India, an elephant. And I've got this, shelf full of all these random things. And it looks probably really tacky, but what's really nice is when it's a cold winter evening in the UK, I just have a little feel. And when I feel the pyramids, it's casts my mind back to when I was, in Egypt. And when I'm feeling the elephant, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's the elephant we were in India. And it's amazing. And a lot of my sighted friends say, oh, that looks tacky, but I'm like, it's okay, because I like it. That teaches them for having sight.
Esmond,
Yes.
you've bought a parasol.
I did. I was just intrigued in how they're made. It's made completely from bamboo. To see it all put together, you don't realise the amount of work that's involved. It's just fascinating, all this.
Now it's wrapped up. Can you tell me what colour it is?
I think it's brown. But that's only think.
Did somebody help you choose it?
Yes.
Good. Well, I hope they've got good taste.
I hope so too.
Women, I need to find the prettiest umbrella. Come on.
Okay.
Ladies, come and help me.
I'm obviously not qualified.
I like the purple colour.
What colour purples are they?
And then almost like a deep magenta, isn't it? You say that was a deep magenta.
I like the magenta, you're right. Have they got any turquoises?
And have you got an idea in your mind
Yes.
of what those colours are?
Yes. I think green. I'm not such good at greens. I don't remember green that well.
Actually, quite a nice tan one.
I'm going to get the aubergine. I'm going to get 2, I think.
The same size.
Yeah.
I kind of remember, because I could see before, up till I was about 4.5, but I remember colours, but I would kind of picture it in terms of brightness. So I know yellow is quite bright, green would be a darker colour, even though there are lighter forms of each. I would associate colour with certain objects as well. I'd always associate blue with sky, green with grass.
Yellow?
Yellow would be the sun, or maybe orange, but either. I might not have the same interpretation as someone who can see for the colours, but I do picture the colours in a certain way. So when you describe things with different colours, it does mean something.
Like Esmond, James had some sight when he was younger. On the evening before it's my turn to be his guide, we sit outdoors with cicadas at full volume around us, and he tells me about the eye condition he's had since birth.
I have congenital glaucoma, which is quite interesting because there's not really a history of it in my family.
When did your parents find out then that you had this condition?
I remember my mum told me a story that when she'd given birth to me, apparently my eyes looked a bit sort of leathery, and a doctor sort of walked in, took a look at me, spoke to a nurse and said, "Oh yeah, he's blind," and then left without speaking to my parents. Up until the age of 5, I had quite a lot of operations, so I don't really remember it very well. I mean, I've been very, very fortunate in that I went to a school that had a visually impaired unit. So I learned Braille very, very early, and I hated it. But I've come to see the value of it now, later in life, that I've lost more sight. I had a little bit more sight when I was younger in my left eye, where I could read print and get around a lot easier. And then about 7 years ago at university, I lost the rest of it then.
Was that traumatic?
Other people realised before I did, so my dad sort of noticed that there were things I couldn't do as easily anymore, and it started to sink in then with me, but I didn't really realise at the time. So yeah, I mean, that was quite difficult. I remember sitting in one of my uni exams, looking at the computer screen and not being able to read a single word that I was writing. I still managed to pass, so that was good, but yeah, that was quite hard, and I think that's when I realised then there was a problem here.
Right, okay, so we're going to go between this. There's a motorbike on the left-hand side, a bicycle on the right, so we're going through quite a narrow space. Although I've chatted to James quite a bit, it's still a daunting prospect to be his guide round a typical Myanmar food market, doing my best to adequately picture what's around us. Somebody's sitting on the pavement here, so we're just going to veer around to the right, up onto the pavement. How much direction do you like, James?
Yeah, like that was fine. If there's a narrow space and you can walk at a normal pace, that's fine.
Great, well, we're about to clamber over some plastic pipes, and there are plastic bottles on your right. I think we might have to just walk onto the road here. So down here, we're passing people who've got baskets on their heads.
Just move to your left a little bit because the bikes are coming quite close behind me.
Have you got danger money?
It's very busy here today.
It's really busy. It's fascinating though. There's fruit and vegetables here I've never seen before. Can you smell the spices?
Yes, yeah.
And there's a couple of guys just nodding to us just now, saying hello and smiling. And on the left-hand side, we've got 2 little girls trying to sell us postcards. You could be the one who's in charge of saying we're not buying anything.
Maui Boo, Maui Boo.
Maui Boo. Right, and hanging up on the left, we've got bananas, there's coconuts. Hang on, I've got caught in somebody's umbrella. I've been in quite a lot of markets, but this is one I've never seen before, because in fact, the people are actually sitting on top of what are the counters, cross-legged, in amongst the produce. I think this is fantastic, don't you?
Yeah, it's good fun.
Oh, there's a couple of monks passing us now in their wine-red robes, wearing flip-flops. And they have a one bare shoulder. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. And some of them have got tattoos. I, of course, would not be allowed to touch either of them because they're not allowed to be touched by women. Mingilaba.
Somebody's got a shroot. There's lots of interesting smells around. You get like the I don't know, there's something particular about tobacco here.
It's actually surprising for me how quickly you just kind of get into the way of guiding. It's not as difficult as I thought it was going to be.
It's an interesting way of actually bonding because there's a relationship of trust there, like from the start.
Yeah.
I have to rely on you to get around here, and you have to rely on me that I'm going to tell you what's going to work and what's not.
How does it really feel for you, though, when we're going through this market? Is it frustrating for you not to be able to see what I'm describing?
Not really, no. You're doing an excellent job of describing. That kind of fills in some of the gaps and fits then in with the sort of smells and sounds, and it's very busy. There's lots of different smells of the spices and the cheroot smoke and lots of people. You know, it's an entirely multi-sensory experience, and you know, you're filling in the visual bit for me.
I'm really enjoying it. Jesu ba, Jesu ba.
You can smell that fish paste thing somewhere as well.
It's disgusting. We're kind of at a standstill here.
Sharp elbows, Edie, sharp elbows.
Sorry, my bag will be bumping into
No, it's absolutely fine.
That was you causing the logjam, is it?
Well, the person at the head of the queue is causing the logjam. I'm just following.
Are you spare today, Moira?
I'm spare today, yes.
Moira has lots of experience as a guide. This is her 12th trip. When we first met, she said that she came here because she loves travel. But later in the day, when the rest of the group were watching the sunset and sipping cocktails, although she knows that they will hear this broadcast, Moira bravely confides a more catastrophic reason for being here.
Nearly 9 years ago, my husband died. He took his own life, which was obviously devastating, but I've managed to kind of get to the point where I now feel myself, but I've had a lot of help to get there from friends, family, psychologist, a wonderful lady who went for 3 years, over 3 years in fact, and Traveleyes is part of my recovery. I really just love it, and I've met such wonderful people. I've found actually something that I think I'm good at, which I never had any confidence before. I just thought nobody told me I was useless, but I didn't really feel I had anything to offer anybody.
When that devastating event happened to you and your family, which of course has such a profound effect, did you have any idea that you would be sitting like you're doing now, 9 years later, having seen half of the world and having enhanced your life in such a way?
Yeah. No, I had no idea. To begin with, all I could do was crawl around the floor, just saw this blackness. I was very, very negative. My daughter was wonderful. She kept saying, stop saying you should do this and you can't do that. She says, be more positive. It took a long time, but I think it's nearly here.
When we join the group again at the outside bar overlooking Inley Lake, Moira is back to her cheery self. But I continue to be struck by the knowledge that darkness isn't confined to those who are blind. And on this particular happy hour, I lift my glass to the resilience of the human spirit.
Boat number 2. There are 5 seats on boat number 2.
Next day, we board narrow wooden boats, and it feels as if we're entering a time warp as we explore Myanmar's beautiful Inley Lake, famous for its floating gardens of vegetables, its teak houses built on stilts, and the fishermen who stand and steer their boats with a rowing style involving wrapping one leg round the oar as if they're stirring a pot. We stop off to visit a lotus weaving workshop where we see how villagers weave the fibres of lotus stems into gorgeous, very expensive fabric. And we arrive at the village of Indin on the western bank of Inley Lake and climb the hill to find its famous crumbling and ancient pagodas, over 1,000, dating back to the 15th century. I expect to bump into Indiana Jones at any time. Instead, I find the next best explorer.
We're just walking in the ruins. It's called Indian Temple. And so we've just been walking around touching things.
Can you give me a picture of what's around you? Can you describe what's around? I mean,
Oh gosh, now you're asking, Edie.
what's in your head?
Basically, in my head, if you start off with the ground, it was kind of quite rocky-ish ground, like bumpy ground. We've just come up an incline, and so we're all really sweaty. It's a nice sunny day, but it feels quite still. So you got a feeling of tranquility to start with, and then we approach some of the temples and felt some of the temples, and they are very much in ruins, but you can actually feel a lot of the figures on there. So we've just been identifying hands, so you can feel the little fingers and in the little niches where one of the side guys put my hand, and I don't think anybody had put their hand in there. It was full of cobwebs. But when you get a blind party like this coming through some ruins, we certainly clean the place up.
Impressive as this site is, an even more astonishing and imposing testament to Buddhist devotion is still ahead of us in Bagan. Thousands of brick-coloured temples strewn across the plains like chess pieces. Buddhists believe they gain merit for the next life by building or donating to religious buildings, and from the 9th to the 13th centuries, over 10,000 temples were built here on the plains of Bagan. But earthquake damage over the years means that less than 3,000 temples remain in varying states of repair. The scaffolding and blue and red plastic tarpaulins we can see on many temples are because of the earthquake in August 2016, which damaged more than 400 buildings. But it's not all bad news. In the late 90s, the military junta demanded donations towards renovation, which has now been shown to be far from authentic, as Nine explains.
Almost all top of the temples and stupa were damaged. So severely in some old temple like Sulamani from 12th century, the top of this temple brought down by the earthquake. But actually, these are not the origin of that time. Because, after the earthquake, what we found is the material that they use is totally different from the 11th century, 11th to 13th century of the Bagan period. The restored part of the temple brought down by the earthquake, and the original part remained intact.
So the restoration will be done sympathetically now?
Luckily.
But frankly, there are so many temples here. It's like, I've never seen so many.
It's like popping out or shooting out the mold from the ground. Yeah. You are here, so you have to visit 3,000 monuments.
To survey one of the richest archaeological sites in Asia, we climb the tall Oak Chan brick monastery and get a 360-degree view of the thousands of temples spread across the plains of Bagan. It's a vista unlike any of us have seen. How can you find words to describe something unlike anywhere else in the world? Moira, who loves guiding, admits she's happy to be spare today.
Today I'm quite pleased I'm not guiding because there's so much detail. The patterns are so intense and so beautiful. But if you say beautiful to a blind person, that doesn't mean anything.
I imagine it must be quite difficult for the sighted guides because we are basically in the middle of a gigantic museum.
Do you feel that you're getting a really good impression of this, though? I mean, with the guides, but also standing up here and knowing that you're surrounded by ancient edifices.
Yes, of course. We do rely on the guides to explain things, but, I think sometimes less is more because you can get, I think, if someone explains a general idea and points out some sort of striking landscapes, your mind's eye, as it were, can fill in the rest.
James is being guided by Joe, who likens this to Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. For someone who's guiding for the first time, she's doing a valiant job.
I'm trying to describe what it feels like, because to describe what it looks like is just totally over the top. I've described a couple of individual ones, but basically it's just this feeling of massive green with loads and loads of stupas just sticking out of the green stuff. It's
like molehills.
Termite mounds, probably more.
Except the way they pop up and up and up and up and up and up and up. That's more like moles. No, it is otherworldly, but awesomely beautiful.
Oh. You don't mind about saying the word beautiful to a blind person?
Well, James uses the word himself. And I know that you're a music lover, and I think he's got an incredible sense of what beauty is.
The following day, Joe is guiding Jennifer. And when we get a very rare, quiet moment, the three of us sit down for a chat. And I asked Jo what made her book this trip.
I do a lot of travelling, and sometimes on my own, quite frequently with groups, and I'd never even thought of accompanying people who couldn't see, and I just thought it was just such a phenomenal idea and wanted to be part of it.
Did you think you were going to be good at it?
I suspected I wouldn't be good at it. I thought, no, and then I became more and more convinced that I wouldn't be good at it. So before I came, I was really nervous. The last 24 hours were very scary.
When did you relax?
Probably the first day, actually. At the airport, I met 3 other rookies, all fairly nervous, I think. But quite quickly, it was obvious this was a special sort of group.
Is every group special, though, Jennifer?
Every group's different. The new sighted guides are really very good. I can tell you Jo is an excellent guide. I was the first person she guided, and she took me to the swimming pool, and it was a fabulous experience for me. She seems to sense straight away what you need, how much help you need. You've got a lovely friend who's a companion, but you're not being overpowered.
What do you think you're getting out of this?
Oh my God, I can't tell you how much I'm getting out of it. I do remember that first morning, and oh God, I saw everything in a different way. I was horrified at what we were having to negotiate, the sharp corners and the narrow bits, and I thought, hell, this is something else. I've just learnt so much, so much. I suspect the VIs don't realise quite how much the sighted guides get out of this. I don't know anybody else who can't see, actually. I have a couple of deaf friends, but the thought that they can't actually see me adds another dynamic altogether, and I can't quite describe what that is. Is it a freedom because they can't see you? Jennifer doesn't know how ugly I am or how fat I am.
Sure, you're not either.
But no, it isn't that. Or I think there is a freedom about not being able to see me, maybe. But you're sharing in a more meaningful, deeper way, perhaps. And you wouldn't do that with somebody that you just met normally. It would be an intrusion, perhaps.
Will you keep in touch?
Almost certainly, with most of the people in the group, I think.
But why are you so emotional?
It's humbling. It's humbling. I like to travel, but would I be as brave as James, Jennifer, Esmond, the others? Would I be as brave if I couldn't see?
It isn't brave. To suddenly lose your sight as I did, it isn't brave, it has happened. And you've just got to either make the decision that you're going to get the most out of your life as you can, or you're going to sit in a corner and cry. And if you choose to do that, your life is over. My life is very different since I can't see. I admit that my life is different, but I've no complaints. I've had a wonderful life, and I consider I'm very fortunate.
I have learnt so much. I think I've probably learned more about people than I have about Burma, and Burma's been fantastic, absolutely wonderful. It's been a massive privilege, massive privilege.
Well, it's been wonderful for us too, because what you've got to remember, without wonderful people like you, we would not be here.
Do you have much chat with other VIs in the group? I see you talking an awful lot with the sighted people, but do you speak as much to the VIs?
When we find them, we do.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Back in the bus, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are on the road to Mandalay.
By the old Mine Pagoda, look on eastward to the the sea. There's a Burma girl a-setting, and I know she thinks of me. For the wind is in the palm trees, and the temple bells they say, come you back, you British soldier, come you back.
All too soon, after visiting more temples, a working monastery, and the beautiful Ubain teak bridge, this is our last stop. Well, this is spectacular. We have got to the top of Mandalay Hill. Can you bear to go out into the burning sunshine here?
For you, Edie, I'll walk wherever with you.
I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Yeah, I think so too. We are. We're on top of Mandalay.
Woo. Amar and I are burning our feet on a marble temple floor on a perfect natural watchtower, 240 metres above the city, with panoramic views of gold-topped stupas, the old royal palace, the Irrawaddy River and distant Shan Hills. Nobody wants to leave.
This is the hardest bit. You know, you come on these trips and you spend 10, 12 days with lots of people in a very sort of intimate way. People are guiding you and describing things, and then it's sort of time to go home. So, you know, there'll be a little bit of sadness there.
There will.
Edie, can I ask you, how have you found your experience guiding and describing?
But without crying. Oh, it's been amazing, really. I think what I've learned on this trip more than anything is that, you know, whatever happens to you, there can be a way forward if you have the right, obviously if you have the right support, and also if you have the right attitude. I think people might be mistaken that being with blind or visually impaired people might be a bit depressing. Quite the contrary.
Yeah, because
I've had such a good laugh.
Yeah, many people think that, you know, they're going to be doing something good to help, you know, the poor blind people, etc. But what they realise is that, you know, what an effect it has on them. And I think that's what makes them come back time and time again. You know, we just have such a laugh. You know, if you're blind or you're sighted, it doesn't matter. You know, we're all fellow travelling companions, and, you know, let's just go out and have a good time.
And Moira, for one, has already booked her next trip.
Eventually, I've taken leave of my senses because I have booked to go to Finland in December with Traveleyes. It'll be dark, it'll be freezing cold. I never go on holiday to somewhere that's not warm, so I may not enjoy the experience, but it'll be an experience.
992, our tour leader for the last 10 days, captures the trip perfectly.
I've been working here in the tourism field for 12 years, but among them, this group, I have to tell you the truth, is the best ever. Because, you know, everybody show their interesting face. So when I see this interesting face, then I can express more. I can tell more about the country in terms of culture, tradition, religion as well. I feel really surprised myself as well, because almost all of you showing me the face of interest. I love this group.
I think we love you too.
Thank you.
This was not a group of interested eyes that could all see, but interested faces and minds, eager to share experience, learn together, and regretfully say goodbye.
I just wanted to say thank you to all the sighted travellers that came along. It's because of your hard work that these trips are possible, and, you know, you also bring the world to life for us. So just thank you very much.
And thank you very much from me to everyone who put up with the microphone. Too many to include everyone in this programme. And to Amar Latif, the blind man who wants to show you the world. Chezu Ba. I went sightseeing in Myanmar and saw so much more. But I'll leave the last words to Jennifer, who had a brain hemorrhage 21 years ago and lost her sight in 3 seconds, not her character. Jennifer, I was speaking to Amar recently. He was saying a cloudy day for him is good because he can make out shapes. Is this the same for you?
Well, I'm better actually when it's bright light because I've got light perception, and if the light is very good, I can pick out, so long as they're close to me, bright colours. So I prefer brighter light, really.
So this isn't a good day for you?
Every day's a good day for me because every day's an adventure.
You've been listening to Sightseeing in Myanmar.